Uh, Good evening, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for joining me. I just stopped by to share an update on Kenya election, the celebration uh, of the result of the election. Also to update you on the news I and the others reported on Ethiopia. Uh, so let me start by expressing the correction. It was widely reported about Tigray region delegation, peace talk delegation, directly meeting with Ethiopian uh, peace delegation, which is mediated by African Union. So now, according to Tigray Media House English outlet, there is no such kind of direct engagement uh, between Tigray region officials and Ethiopian Federal Authority. So I don't know where this news came from. It was widely reported on different medias. I also I used WION media to report to you. So I don't know where the WION get the news. So many media outlets reported about the direct engagement between the Tigray region and Ethiopian Federal Authority peace delegation talk, which is mediated by African Union. So that news isn't, you know, it should be updated. There is no direct engagement between these two groups. So why? Who spread this news? Is it African Union? Is it Ethiopian social media? We don't know, but it has been widely reported. That report is false. There is no direct engagement. Even Getachew Reda tweeted on this matter. So there is no such direct engagement. Uh, if it happened, it's good, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen, and we express happiness to end the problem between the federal government and the Tigray region, but it didn't happen. So we don't know why this news is spreading to social media, even big media like WION. So we don't know. So no direct engagement between Ethiopian Federal Peace Delegation and Tigray region or TPLF officials. Uh, the other one is the war in Oromia still going on. The war waged by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed by using the country's resources, human, finance, everything. He's waging the war on Oromos under the name of chasing oil fighters. People's houses are still burning, civilians are suffering, and no international media is talking about no condemnation from US or European Union. No. And he refused. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his team refused to settle this issue, to end this war. The good thing is those who are when ordered to fight in Oromia region, they are surrendering peacefully with their weapons to oil armed group, oil fighters. So it's a good sign. Refusing to kill their own people, their own citizens, and peacefully surrendering to oil armed group with heavy weapons. So this is a good sign. And Shabo Media, very interesting, very good media in reporting news and analyzing and encouraging the Oromos on the strategy in fighting the authoritarian government we have in Ethiopia. So Shabo Media is encouraging those federal forces, especially those Oromos, instead of killing their own people, they should surrender, just like those guys, to OLA fighters. Uh, encourage them, refuse to kill their own citizen, join the OLA to end the authoritarian regime in Ethiopia. He also, Shabo Media, also suggesting the colonels and the senior officials, you know, other ranking officials can end this brutality happening in Oromia and other region by taking over the power from the prime minister. Shabo is suggesting, encouraging Brahanu Jula and others to take power from Abiy Ahmed and end the atrocities, the ongoing atrocities, detention, killing, intimidation happening in Oromia and other parts of the country by seizing the power, just like the Baladinsa, other senior officials in, from Dark regime took over the power from Emperor Haile Selassie. So he is suggesting Oromos can do the same thing at this time. He just, encouraging them to use the power they have, to use the ranking they are enjoying, to seize power from this person and end the atrocities happening in Oromia and in Ethiopia as a whole country. So that's a good suggestion, especially if they can end this regime lifeline. The longer he stays, the more the people die and the suffering will continue in Ethiopia. So that's a good suggestion. And also those who are fighting the Oromo, they should also consider joining OLA like their friends who just joined the OLA forces with their heavy weapons. That's a good sign. That's a good sign to end atrocities. And I don't know, Brian Ujula and this close associate of Prime Minister Abiy have a courage to do that, but he is suggesting, Shabo Media is suggesting, they should seize power and end the atrocity happening in Oromia and in Ethiopia in general. So the war is still going on, it still continue, and we wish to end soon. So with whatever strategy, through OLA or through those government forces, we don't know, but we just pray to see the end of this atrocity. So thank you, and I will go to Africa News video. And one more video about Afghanistan after that. Before I go there, let me read this quickly. This is it's not that much. This is about USA sanctioning senior Liberia government officials. So this is the only one I have for today's reading. Imposing sanction on senior Liberian government officials. Press statement, Need Price Department, U.S. State Department. The United States is designating Liberian government officials Nathaniel McGill, Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, and the Chief of Staff to President George W. Cyrenius Cephas, the Solicitor General and the Chief Prosecutor of Liberia, and Bill Tuwei, the managing director of the National Port Authority, for their involvement on ongoing public corruption in Liberia. McGill has used his position to undermine the integrity and independence of Liberia's democratic institutions and subvert government priorities for personal gain. CFS has developed close relationships with suspects of criminal investigation and has received bribes from individuals in exchange for arranging for their cases to be dropped. Tuwei has used his position at NPA, National Port Authority, to corruptly advance his own personal wealth and political agenda. All three are being designated pursuant to Executive Order 13818, which builds upon and implements the Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act and targets perpetrators of serious human rights abuse and corruption around the world. All three of these individuals have contributed to Liberia's worsening corruption. These designations reflect our commitment to implementing the United States strategy on countering corruption and to partnering with the Liberian government and people to help the country chart a better course forward. So that is U.S. State Department sanctioning senior officials from in Liberian government for corruption and other related issues. So let's go through the video. The first one is about the election results in Kenya. We have been waiting for since August 9, and is now closed. Kenyans are, despite some, chaos, that chapter is closed now. Now we know William Ruto is the president-elect of Kenya, and we care about Kenya because Kenya is just right the southern border to Ethiopia, and so many Oromos fled to Kenya, as a refuge, as a protection, and also to use like a jumping board to other opportunities, to go to Canada, to go to the United States, Africa, different African countries, Europe. So Kenyans have been very good people to Ethiopians. The hospitality is excellent, despite sometimes some issue with police, and that's a minor issue. But in general, they are very hospitable for people fleeing political and also some other economic challenges from Ethiopia. Plus, also we have connection with many Borana Oromos who are in Kenya or who are Kenyan citizens. They are still, friendly to Oromos and helping us when we face challenges in Kenya, whether in dealing with the police and other issues. So it just is a home. It's our home. It's another home for Ethiopians and for Oromos especially. So that's why we just, watching it carefully. We need a friendly government, and look like William Ruto is the good guy for the next 4 years or 5 years. So Even he I saw him on the Shabo media talking in Afan Oromo with the residents in Kenya, I think Oromo Boranas, when he was campaigning. So that's a very, very good encouraging sign. He will be friendly. He will be peaceful. So that's why it matters to watch what your neighbor is doing. So let's listen and let's enjoy the celebration with Kenyans together.
Supporters of Deputy President William Ruto celebrated in the streets on Monday after Kenya's Electoral Commission chairman declared him the winner of the close presidential election over long-time opposition figure Raila Odinga. Ruto broke with tradition by appealing to struggling Kenyans on economic terms as opposed to ethnic lines.
The reason as to why I believe in William Ruto is because he believes in the hustler nation. Hustler nation means everybody in his own hustle, in his own small business. He believes even in the wheelbarrow economy.
He's a guy who understands our country at large. He knows what we want. He knows that those people down needs to promote themselves to come up. That's why he promoted the bottom-up economy. And that's why we're so happy today, because we voted for him.
The electoral race was close, with Ruto obtaining just over 50% of the vote against almost 49% for Odinga.
I want to commit to the people of Kenya that I will build on the foundation that President Kenyatta and I put together and take this country to the next level. I want to promise all the people of Kenya, whichever way they voted, that this will be their government.
Kenyans will now have to wait to see whether five-time contender Raila Odinga will contest the results through the courts.
Inflation's no match for Kohl's biggest clearance event of the year. Get up to 70% off must-have summer styles for the family and stretch your budget like never before. More.
Congratulations to all of Muslim people. It is a very happy day.
A year ago, they said they couldn't believe they took Kabul so easily. They celebrated then, and
Taliban
they still are.
Celebrating, I think, 1 year anniversary of taking over
On a now public
Afghanistan.
holiday, the Taliban took to the streets in their famous pickup trucks and, of course, now in their captured cars. To this conquering army, NATO's greatest failure was never in doubt. They say they always knew.
These enormous convoys have been going on continuously. As you can see, they're all still fully armed. I think what the message from the Taliban to the outside world is, we're here, we're still armed, and we're here to stay.
Exactly a year on, the Taliban continued a new tradition of a televised media event, open to the international media, but overwhelmingly attended by loyalists. Special Forces soldiers struggle to hold back people eager to get inside, and seems somewhat at a loss what to do with women. In the audience, Taliban royalty, including Anas Haqqani, a powerful 28-year-old leader and negotiator with the United States in Doha. His arrival sparked a flurry of activity by the press corps eager for pictures of him. By chance, he sat behind me and we started chatting. He told me economically Afghanistan is struggling because foreign aid has been slashed and assets frozen. The key sticking point with the international community is education for girls. In his interview with Sky News, he hinted at compromise, but explained it would take time to convince the Taliban's old guard, saying the world must give him some room. This is nuanced stuff, but for a Haqqani family member, an ultra-conservative group, this is a big deal. How the world deals with the Taliban in the future is undecided, of course. For the foot soldiers celebrating outside the now mothballed American embassy, a symbol of a failed campaign to change Afghanistan, none of this really matters right now. In truth, many of these Taliban were babies when the war started. $1 trillion and 21 years later, they're in total control. Stuart Ramsey, Sky News, Kabul.
Okay, Sky News and Africa News, thank you. So that's Taliban dramatic comeback after 21 years and taking over Afghanistan. So they are celebrating maybe a year anniversary of taking over from NATO forces. You know, it happened. And let me conclude by saying congratulations to William Ruto for winning the election, in a large, peaceful, independent election in Kenya. So the celebration is interesting. We wish we have such kind of open, independent, peaceful, and democratic election in Ethiopia. I don't think it's going to happen under Abiy Ahmed. I don't think. He will use all the excuses to shut down the opposition parties and to extend the election to facilitate his own fake victory. So we'll not see such democratic election under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. So anyway, we wish William Ruto, President-elect of Kenya, a peaceful and a prosperous White House for the next 4 years. And we wish you good luck. And as you said, keep your promise. Your government is inclusive to all Kenyans. So we wish you good luck. And the more you are successful, and the more Oromos and others benefit from your leadership, and appreciate Kenyans for their hospitalities. So we care about Kenya, we care about your election. Congratulations to the people of Kenya and the President-elect William Ruto. I wish you, concerned citizens and media, wish you, a fruitful, successful, and a peaceful 4-year term. Congratulations. So thank you again for joining me. I will be back with other updates. Please share, comment on my video. So be safe. So long, everyone.